Today, we're going to count down 15 incredible stealth vehicles that you've never seen before. Starting with number 15, the Sea Shadow, the IX-529. At first glance, the Sea Shadow looks like something out of a science fiction film, an angular black catamaran-shaped ship that seems to hover over the water. But this real-life stealth vessel was a pioneering effort by the US Navy and Lockheed Martin to explore how stealth technology could be applied to maritime platforms. The Sea Shadow was developed in the 1980s under a top-secret program initiated by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, and the US Navy. At the height of the Cold War, the military was heavily investing in radar-evading technology, having seen the success with the F-117 Nighthawk stealth aircraft. The goal was to reduce the radar cross-section of ships, making them harder to detect and track. The Sea Shadow construction began in 1984, and it was first tested at sea in 1985. It was built inside the massive Hughes mining barge, which itself had a shadowy past related to CIA operations. But what made the Sea Shadow unique was the hull design and the radical application of stealth geometry. It used a swath hull, that's a small waterplane area twin hull, which helped it stay stable even in rough seas. At 160 feet or 49 meters long and 70 feet or 21 meters wide, it was not large by naval standards, but it did pack some immense research value. The ship had a crew of 4 to 12, and although it was never armed or intended for combat, it was a floating laboratory. It tested radar signature reduction, infrared masking, and wake suppression tech. But despite the design, the Sea Shadow remained largely unknown to the public until it was revealed in the early 1990s. At that point, it had already served its main purpose as a prototype for stealth ship design concepts. The Navy never commissioned the Sea Shadow into active duty, and it was used for limited trials until 2006 when it was decommissioned. In 2012, the ship was eventually scrapped, but not before making a lasting impression on naval engineers. Many of the lessons learned from the Sea Shadow informed the design of subsequent vessels, like the Zumwalt-class destroyers, which also feature angular radar-deflecting superstructures. Though it never fired a shot or deployed on a mission, the Sea Shadow was a critical step forward in stealth maritime engineering, and it remains one of the most intriguing under-the-radar vehicles in U.S. military history. Number 14, the PL-01 Polish stealth tank. Among the most visually striking land vehicles ever created, Poland's PL-01 light tank prototype looked like it rolled straight out of a futuristic video game. Its angular surfaces, low silhouette turret, and radar-absorbing outer shell were no illusion. This was a stealth-enabled armor fighting vehicle meant to operate unseen on the battlefield. It was unveiled in 2013 by Poland's Ogrom in cooperation with the UK's BAE Systems. It stunned defense observers with the ambition to build the world's first true stealth tank. It was based on the chassis of the proven CV-90, that's a combat-tested Swedish platform, but almost everything else above the hull was a clean-sheet design. The infrared signature was addressed, the outer skin incorporated modular materials that could absorb heat, limit emissions, or even use active cooling systems to match ambient terrain temperatures. The heat suppression was so effective that in tests, when viewed through thermal optics, the PL-01 blended into the background terrain, appearing like a cold rock rather than a 35-ton combat vehicle. Mobility-wise, the tank was designed to be fast and flexible. It weighed around 35 tons and it was classified as a light tank or direct fire support vehicle with a top speed of about 70 kilometers an hour. That's about 43 miles an hour. And the ability to keep up with mechanized infantry formations with its modular layout allowed for quick adaptation to various roles, like reconnaissance, command and control, or even urban combat, and its relatively low weight made it transportable by air. Despite the high promise and significant public attention, the PL-01 never entered full production. Poland quietly shelved the platform. However, much of the design work, particularly with the stealth shaping, thermal suppression techniques, and electronic warfare, was folded into other domestic armored vehicle programs. The PL-01 demonstrated that stealth isn't just for jets and submarines. On the 21st century battlefield, even tanks have to hide, not behind trees or hills, but in plain sight, disguised from the very sensors that now dominate modern war. Number 13, the Typo 52D destroyer. So when most people think of stealth in naval warfare, their minds jump right to the futuristic Western ships like the USS Zumwalt. But halfway around the world, China has been steadily and quietly deploying a powerful fleet of warships with stealth characteristics, including the Typo 52D destroyer, an advanced guided missile destroyer that blends stealth shaping, radar absorption, and heavy firepower. Nicknamed the Chinese Aegis for its similarity to the U.S. Navy's Aegis-equipped destroyers, the Typo 52D is the backbone of China's modern blue water navy. The first destroyer, Kunming, was commissioned in 2014, and dozens more have since been launched or entered service. As of 2024, over 25 of them are believed to be operational, making it one of the most widely produced stealth-capable destroyers in the world. So what makes it stealth? Well, it features carefully angled surfaces, recessed fittings, and radar-absorbent coatings to reduce its cross-section. The main superstructure is flattened and faceted to deflect any incoming radar waves, and key heat sources like exhaust are masked using advanced funnel shaping to reduce infrared signatures. The result is a modern warship with a much lower radar profile than previous Chinese vessels. But stealth is only one part of its identity. Its arsenal is no less impressive. Each ship carries up to 64 VLS cells, loaded with a mix of anti-air missiles, anti-ship cruise missiles, and anti-submarine torpedoes. It includes advanced radar systems, which gives it a powerful targeting and tracking capability across air, sea, and land. And the ship's operational doctrine emphasizes multi-mission roles: air defense, anti-submarine operations, and long-range land attack missions. The Typo 52D's emergence marks a shift in naval warfare in the Indo-Pacific region. For decades, stealth in surface warfare was a domain dominated by the United States and a few select Western navies. This one proves that China has joined, and is rapidly catching up, in that race. It's not as invisible as some radar-defying experimental ships, but it is a real-world, stealth-enhanced warship, and its massive production scale makes it one of the most important stealth vehicles that few outside defense circles even talk about. Number 12. Russian Project 955A. When most people think of stealth, submarines aren't really the first vehicle that comes to mind, but they are, in many ways, the original stealth platforms. And few submarines operate with the degree of acoustic stealth as the Russian Bory A-class, officially known as Project 955A. The Bory A-class represents Russia's most modern fleet of strategic nuclear-powered ballistic missile subs, or SSBNs. It's the latest evolution in a series of Cold War-era designs, but with a fundamental redesign to maximize stealth and survivability in hostile waters. The first generation, Project 955, entered service in the early 2010s, but it's the Bory A variant, Project 955A, that truly refines stealth capability, featuring a new hull shape, reduced acoustic signature, and upgraded navigation and combat systems. At over 170 meters or 560 feet in length and displacing around 24,000 tons submerged, it is massive, yet despite the size, it's one of the quietest submarines Russia's ever built. The secret lies in that pump jet propulsion system, used instead of a conventional propeller. This type of system reduces what's called cavitation, the noisy air bubbles that form around propeller blades, and it makes the submarine much harder to detect by sonar. The hull design also incorporates anechoic coatings, which are rubberized tiles that absorb and diffuse sonar waves rather than reflecting them. Internally, the Bory A-class carries up to 16 Bulava submarine-launched ballistic missiles, each capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads. But it's not just the offensive capability that defines the Bory A, it is the stealth doctrine that it supports. To date, at least 6 Bory-class submarines have entered Russian naval service, with more under construction as of 2024. In terms of strategic stealth platforms, the Bory A-class is one of the most significant, but it remains rarely discussed in Western media due to its out-of-sight nature. Number 11. The Saab 105 OE, Austria's radar ghost. At first glance, the Saab 105 OE doesn't look like a stealth vehicle at all. It's a small twin-jet trainer aircraft with side-by-side seating and a clean, compact design. But this unassuming aircraft, operated by the Austrian Air Force, is known in aviation circles for a surprising feature: it's nearly invisible on radar. It was originally developed in Sweden in 1960 as a light attack and training craft, Austria adopted its own variant, the 105OE, in the early 1970s. While its mission profile was basic, air patrol, pilot training, and limited ground attack, its design turned out to have a very unusual side effect. Radar testing conducted by NATO in later years showed that the Saab 105OE has an exceptionally low radar cross-section. In other words, this aircraft, without even being designed for stealth, was naturally very stealthy. Why? Well, the shape includes several features that unintentionally deflect radar waves rather than reflecting them. The fuselage is short and rounded, its engine intakes are tucked in close to the body, and the aircraft's small size and narrow frontal picture contribute to that radar ghost effect. It's got no external weapons pylons or protruding structures in its default configuration, further minimizing the profile. This accidental stealth was never part of the original design brief, but in a neutral country like Austria, which values air sovereignty and defense over offensive strike capabilities, its near invisibility became a surprising asset. It carries a limited weapons load, usually including gun pods, rocket launchers, or small bombs for air-to-ground practice missions, and it can reach speeds of up to 970 kilometers an hour, or about 600 miles an hour. As of 2020, Austria began looking to replace the 105OEs with newer trainer platforms, but due to budget constraints and political neutrality, the aircraft remained in service well past its expected retirement date, continuing to serve quietly and literally under the radar. Number 10. The Kokums A26 submarine. In the world of submarine stealth, nuclear-powered giants like the Russian Bory or American Virginia class often dominate the conversation. But in the realm of non-nuclear subs, few vessels are as quietly advanced or as stealthy as Sweden's A26 submarine developed by Kokums, a division of Saab. It's a diesel-electric submarine with an air-independent propulsion, meaning that it can stay submerged for weeks at a time without surfacing for air, a key limitation of older diesel subs. This capability comes from the use of Stirling engines, which are virtually silent and allow long-duration underwater patrols. But the A26's real stealth edge lies in the modular design and multi-layered acoustic insulation system known as GHOST, Genuine Holistic Stealth. This includes raft-mounted machinery, decoupled from the hull to prevent vibration noise, anechoic tiles covering the hull which absorb sonar, hydrodynamically optimized shaping that minimizes wake turbulence and flow noise, and specialized coatings and thermal masking to reduce infrared and magnetic signatures. At just over 65 meters long and displacing around 2,000 tons, the A26 is small but agile. It's perfect for slipping through archipelagos, shallow waters, and choke points undetected. Now, one of its most notable features is the multi-mission portal. This is a flexible payload bay that can be used to launch divers, drones, UUVs, or even torpedo-sized vehicles used for underwater reconnaissance. For countries like Sweden, whose defense doctrine emphasizes defending complex coastal environments, like the Baltic Sea in particular, the A26 represents the cutting edge. As of 2024, the first A26 subs are in advanced stages of sea trials, with delivery scheduled to the Swedish Navy in the near future. Though it's not designed for blue water nuclear deterrence, in terms of regional stealth dominance, the A26 may be the most silent, capable, and least known submarine of its class. Number 9. The Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider. Well, you may have heard of this one, but when people think of the stealth aircraft, the B-2 Spirit, it's the iconic flying wing, that's the one that comes to mind. But its successor, the B-21 Raider, is even more advanced, and yet still mostly unknown to the public due to how little it's officially been revealed. Developed by Northrop Grumman for the United States Air Force, the B-21 Raider is a next-generation long-range strategic bomber, capable of delivering both conventional and nuclear payloads. It is the first new American bomber in over 30 years. But what makes it notable is how stealth isn't just one feature, it's the central design philosophy. The B-21 uses a refined flying wing shape, with improvements in radar-absorbent material, reduced infrared signature, and electronic countermeasures. It's believed also to use a multispectral stealth approach, meaning it's designed to evade not just radar, but also infrared, visual, acoustic, and electromagnetic detection. The engines are buried deep within the body, with an S-shaped intake that masks the compressor blades from any radar. The exhaust system is flattened and cooled to reduce infrared visibility. That's a vulnerability of earlier stealth bombers. And its surface, including every panel, edge, and rivet, is designed to minimize radar reflections. It also requires much less maintenance than the B-2 bomber thanks to improved materials and coatings, making it both more deployable and more affordable. Each B-21 is expected to cost under $700 million compared to the B-2's $2 billion price tag. Oh, and the aircraft was named in honor of the Doolittle Raiders, who conducted the famous surprise air raid on Tokyo during World War II. As of 2024, the first test flights of the B-21 have already happened under intense secrecy. Photos released by the USAF show a sleek, matte gray craft with a slightly more compact, angular design than the B-2, and far fewer exposed features. Though it is a strategic bomber, the B-21 will likely play roles in electronic warfare, surveillance, standoff strike, and AI-integrated ops, all without being detected. It is quite literally built to reach anywhere on Earth, take out its targets, and disappear before anyone knew it was coming. Number 8. The Lockheed Martin P-175 Polecat. The P-175 Polecat. It's one of the most mysterious stealth drones ever publicly revealed by Lockheed Martin. And unlike operational drones like the RQ170 Sentinel, the Polecat was an experimental platform, but a very real one, and its role in pushing stealth UAV design forward is significant. It was designed and built by Skunk Works, Lockheed Martin's advanced projects division, known for developing the SR-71 Blackbird, the U-2, and F-117 Nighthawk. The P-175 was first unveiled in 2005 at the Farnborough International Air Show. It was a flying wing UAV with a futuristic look and a highly classified purpose. Its development was reportedly self-funded by Lockheed rather than being commissioned directly by the U.S. military, and that allowed engineers to experiment freely with materials, shapes, and avionics, and push the boundaries of what stealth drones could do. It had a wingspan of about 90 feet or 27 meters, putting it in the same category as some medium-altitude, long-endurance drones. It used blended wing body configuration with no vertical stabilizers and smooth surfaces, which minimized radar reflections and gave it a very low radar cross-section. Although it never was operationally deployed, the P-175 was intended as a technology demonstrator. The role was to test new ideas in UAV stealth, high-altitude performance, autonomous navigation, and sensor integration. It flew successfully several times, but not before suffering a mechanical failure in 2006, which led to its crash in a remote area. Lockheed Martin confirmed the incident but emphasized that no one was hurt and that valuable data was still gathered. The drone's name, by the way, Polecat, is in keeping with Skunk Works' animal-themed naming tradition, and its sleek, almost alien appearance has made it the subject of speculation ever since. But what sets it apart from many other stealth projects is what was shown to the public, even though its capabilities and data remain hidden. It offered a glimpse into the secretive world of next-gen stealth craft, a proof of concept for vehicles that could operate undetected in high-threat environments. Moving on to number 7, the Rheinmetall Lynx KF41. So at first glance, the Lynx KF41 looks like a high-tech infantry fighting vehicle, heavily armored, bristling with weaponry, and designed for survivability in modern combat. But what makes this one stand out and earn its place on this list is the potential to integrate one of the most science fiction-like stealth technologies ever developed, the adaptive active camouflage system. While the Lynx itself is not inherently a stealth platform, its compatibility with emerging tech developed by BAE Systems Sweden makes it one of the only armored vehicles in the world capable of literally becoming invisible to thermal sensors, at least in practice. Let's break it down. It is a next-generation tracked IFV designed by Rheinmetall Defense, first unveiled in 2018. It's designed to transport troops, engage enemy forces, and survive on the most contested modern battlefields. With modular armor, scalable protection packages, and a configurable interior, it is being marketed to NATO countries. But the most futuristic option, integration with adaptive and active thermal camouflage system. Now, this is a type of electrothermal camouflage that uses hexagonal panels mounted on the exterior of the vehicle. Each panel is a thermoelectric tile that can be individually heated or cooled to mimic the surrounding terrain temperature. More than that, the system can display false images. A tank can be made to look like a civilian car or truck, or even just background terrain. When viewed through a thermal camera, it appears as a harmless object or it disappears against the landscape. In testing environments, this system has been able to reduce the detectability of military vehicles by up to 90%, depending on the viewing angle, terrain, and background temperature. This means the Lynx KF41 could become one of the first ground vehicles that's not just armored and armed, but it's also stealth-capable. In addition to that stealth profile, it has a 30mm or 35mm autocannon with the option of up to 50mm cannons, Spike LR anti-tank guided missiles on export models of course, room for about 8 to 9 dismounts and 3 crew. Its modular turret system too and remote weapon stations make it a battlefield network integrated machine. And by the way, this is all not speculative. Adaptive exists, works, and it's been tested on vehicles. Its combination with the Lynx is just a matter of implementation. Number 6. The Altius U, Russia's long-range stealth drone. Yeah, Russia's Air Force has been widely known for its heavy fighter jets and bombers, but in recent years it's quietly developed a growing fleet of drones. Among them is the Altius U. It stands out as the largest, most capable, and most stealth-conscious UAV Russia's produced. Known variously as the Altius M, the Altius MO, or Altius U, this long-endurance unmanned aerial vehicle was developed by the Kazan-based Simonov Design Bureau. The program began in the early 2010s and it's undergone several delays, redesigns, and political shifts. But what emerged in 2019 was a fully operational prototype that rivals any Western UAVs. It's got an estimated wingspan of about 28 meters, that's 92 feet, and an endurance of over 24 hours, giving it a global reach. But what makes it a stealth platform? Well, several design elements. Radar cross-section reduction. Its external surfaces are smooth and angular. Antennas and equipment are internal or retractable, which also reduces reflections. It's got carbon fiber reinforced polymers and other materials that lower its radar signature. Though not jet-powered, its thermal signature is minimized by having the exhaust directed upward and shielded by the airframe. It's got something called low-altitude loitering. It can fly low and slow and use terrain masking and electronic warfare pods to reduce its detectability. And while it isn't as stealthy as a flying wing drone like the RQ170, it does occupy a niche, a long-range, semi-stealthy ISR platform that can operate over contested areas. There have been reports, unconfirmed, of its deployment in regions like Syria and Ukraine, likely in a test or limited surveillance role. And Russia's also hinted that the drone may eventually carry guided munitions like the KAB-50 or KAB-100 precision bombs, turning it into an attack UAV akin to America's MQ-9. Though not as well known as other drones, the Altius U represents a major step in Russia's quiet evolution towards networked, stealth-enabled, multi-role unmanned warfare. Number 5. The Terrannis UCAV. Named after the Celtic god of thunder, Terrannis is the United Kingdom's most advanced and most secretive unmanned combat air vehicle. Developed by BAE Systems, it represents the UK's leap into autonomous stealth warfare. It was built under the UK Ministries of Defence Future Air Combat Systems initiative. Its purpose? To develop a full-scale demonstrator that could operate undetected in denied airspace, conduct precision strikes, and fly autonomously, all with very low radar and thermal signatures. At about 11.5 meters long, roughly 37 feet, with a wingspan of 9.9 meters, about 32 feet, it resembles a miniature flying wing stealth bomber, much like the RQ170 Sentinel or the X-47B. It uses radar-absorbent materials, a highly blended fuselage with no external antennas, and a low observable exhaust designed to minimize infrared emissions. It's believed to use satellite uplinks, AI-assisted flight controls, and real-time battlefield awareness systems, including optical tracking and radar jamming. It could also serve as a foundation for the upcoming Tempest 6th-generation fighter, which will likely include drone wingmen. Though the UK has released few technical details about it, open-source analysts suggest that it is capable of carrying internal weapons like the Brimstone missile or Paveway precision bombs, and it's able to fly autonomously from takeoff to mission execution and then return. The mystery surrounding it, though, its rare sightings, the lack of official specs, and deeply classified flight tests only adds to the mystery. It is one of the most stealth-focused UCAVs ever constructed outside the US, and easily one of the most underreported. Number 4. The Disso Neuron. In Europe's aviation development world lies one of the most advanced stealth drone programs that most people have never heard of, the Disso Neuron. Despite flying since 2012 and showcasing extraordinary capabilities, it remains one of the least discussed unmanned combat air vehicle platforms in the world. It was developed under the leadership of France's Disso Aviation, with cooperation from several European partners including Sweden's Saab, Italy's Leonardo, and others from Spain, Greece, and Switzerland. The Neuron was envisioned as Europe's entry into the stealth drone domain, not just as a prototype, but as a serious contender. The Neuron is a full-scale technology demonstrator. It's not a scaled-down prototype or lab-bound experiment. Its sleek flying wing shape is reminiscent of the American B-2 or the X-47B. It was engineered from the ground up to demonstrate low observability across multiple domains: radar, infrared, visual, and electromagnetic, allowing it to penetrate enemy airspace and deliver strikes undetected. The Neuron carries no live weapons, but the internal bays are designed to house precision munitions, including laser-guided bombs. During its simulated strike missions, it did demonstrate the ability to approach targets undetected, release weapons from internal compartments, and return to base autonomously, all while minimizing its signature. In multiple cross-section trials, Neuron's radar visibility was said to be comparable to that of the F-35 Lightning II. Meanwhile, Sweden's work on low observable technologies and manned and unmanned aircraft accelerated thanks to their collaboration on the project. The Neuron has contributed to NATO's understanding of autonomous stealth operations, showing how future UCAVs could integrate with manned systems and operate as part of a high-risk strike mission with minimal human intervention. While newer drones have since emerged, few have shown the balance of autonomy, stealth shaping, and multi-nation collaboration that the Neuron has achieved. It remains one of the most functional and thoroughly tested stealth drones in the world, and yet outside military and aviation circles, it's virtually unknown. Number 3. The Lockheed Martin RQ170 Sentinel. One of the most mysterious drones to ever enter the public consciousness is the RQ170 Sentinel, nicknamed the Beast of Kandahar. It represents a leap forward in stealth UAV. While most drones today are widely documented or even commercially available, the RQ-170 remained under wraps for years, its existence confirmed only after being spotted in Afghanistan. It was built by Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, and the same elite group that developed the SR-71 Blackbird and F-117 Nighthawk, and it was developed in the early 2000s. Primarily designed for stealth surveillance missions in contested airspace, environments where traditional UAVs would be too easy to detect or even shoot down, its existence came to light around 2007 when blurry images of an unfamiliar drone surfaced from Kandahar airfield in Afghanistan. Observers quickly noted the drone's unique shape, a sleek flying wing design with no vertical stabilizers, characteristics that suggested radar evasion as a top priority. With an estimated wingspan of around 65 feet or 20 meters and jet propulsion, the RQ-170 can fly at high altitudes for extended durations. It's believed to carry sophisticated electro-optical and infrared sensors, SIGINT equipment, and real-time video relay capability. One of its most publicized moments, though, happened in 2011 when an RQ-170 operating in Iranian airspace was reportedly hacked or spoofed into landing by Iranian cyber warfare specialists. The drone was captured, largely intact, and paraded on Iranian television, revealing the U.S.'s secret capabilities. Well, despite the loss, the RQ-170 has been used in a variety of surveillance roles, including high-stakes missions in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and reportedly North Korea. Its true performance capabilities, range, altitude endurance, and data gathering specifics all remain classified. However, analysts agree it represents a significant milestone in stealth drone tech. As of 2024, it is unclear whether the RQ-170 is still in widespread use or if it's been superseded by newer, more advanced platforms, which is probably the case. Still, its impact on drone warfare, surveillance operations, and stealth design continues to be felt. Number 2. HESA Shahed 191, Iran's stealth drone. In the world of unmanned aerial vehicles, the technological gap between global superpowers and smaller nations has traditionally been pretty big. The United States, China, Israel, and a few NATO allies all have dominated the skies with advanced drones, many of them stealth capable. But over the past decade, one country with limited access to foreign aerospace markets has made some startling gains in this capability: Iran. And at the center of this quiet revolution stands a platform few outside the Middle East have even seen in detail: the Shahed 191. Meaning thunderbolt in Farsi, the Shahed 191 is Iran's most advanced stealth UAV. It's not a concept, it's not a scale model, it is a flying, strike-capable, radar-evading aircraft. Now, what makes it unique is that it may be the first true stealth drone to emerge from outside the NATO, China, Russia technology sphere. And even more remarkably, it appears to be based directly on a platform that Iran did not design itself, but reverse engineered from the US RQ170 Sentinel. One of those drones was captured nearly intact by Iran after reportedly being brought down by an electronic warfare system. U.S. officials at the time acknowledged the incident but offered few details. Iran, however, showcased the drone on national television, intact, matte gray with its stealth curves unmistakable. At first, many analysts assumed it was a decoy or an exaggeration, but over time, it became clear that Iran had acquired a near-pristine example of one of America's most secretive aerial platforms. Within 5 years, Iranian defense companies under the IRGC were already flying drones that bore a striking resemblance to the RQ-170. First came the Shahed 171, a larger surveillance-focused airframe. Then in 2016, they publicly unveiled the Shahed 191, a smaller, more tactical variant, and crucially, one designed to carry and deploy weapons. But where the Sentinel was a passive surveillance asset, a pair of eyes in the sky designed to remain undetected, the Shahed 191 takes the concept a bit further. It's not just there to look, it's there to shoot. While much of the world became aware of Iran's drone capabilities through the Shahed 131 and Shahed 136, loitering munitions used by Russia in Ukraine, the Shahed 191 is in a very different class of system. It's not a kamikaze drone, it's a reusable stealth platform. And though the export of this drone remains unconfirmed, reports in 2023 suggest that Iran may be seeking to sell this system to nations like Venezuela, Sudan, or even non-state actors. It is also a harbinger of a future conflict environment in which stealth is no longer rare. Iran, through necessity and ingenuity, has developed a functioning stealth drone fleet without the aerospace infrastructure of a superpower. As this technology becomes more accessible, other regional powers, and eventually even non-state actors, may begin fielding similar systems. The Shahed 191 is not a perfect stealth drone, it's not undetectable, and it's not a peer to American or Chinese stealth UAVs. But it is real, it is operational, and it is flying in active conflict zones, all while being barely recognized outside defense intelligence circles. This makes it one of the most remarkable and genuinely stealthy vehicles on Earth that almost no one's talking about. Number 1. Lockheed Martin RQ180, the most advanced stealth drone ever built. In the realm of military aviation, the most powerful aircraft are often the ones that you don't see. They don't appear at air shows, they don't show up on radar, they don't even appear in official defense budget line items. These are the platforms that operate in the shadows, strategic reconnaissance aircraft designed to reach deep into contested airspace, gather real-time intelligence, and return without leaving a trace. For the United States, that mission has evolved over time, from the high-flying U-2 to the supersonic SR-71 Blackbird, and eventually to stealth drones. The most advanced of these, and arguably the most secretive aircraft currently in existence, is the RQ-180, developed by Lockheed Martin and operated in complete silence by the United States Air Force. The RQ-180 is not a speculative project. Its existence, while never officially acknowledged by the Department of Defense, has been widely confirmed by credible aviation experts, satellite imagery, procurement documents, and investigative journalism from sources like Aviation Week and Space Technology, Jane's Defense Weekly, and The Drive. It is the worst-kept secret in American aerospace development, a flying wing stealth drone that reportedly became operational in the early 2010s, with capabilities far beyond anything the public has yet seen. The first hint that such a platform was being developed came in the early 2000s, when the Air Force's next-generation long-range reconnaissance aircraft program was quietly introduced. The goal was to field a drone that could penetrate contested airspace, evade detection, and gather strategic intelligence without risking a pilot. According to reporting and analysis of satellite imagery, the RQ-180 first appeared on the radar, metaphorically speaking, in 2013, when Aviation Week published a detailed piece revealing that new stealth drone had been spotted at Area 51 and Edwards Air Force Base. The article cited multiple defense officials and industry insiders who confirmed that a large, white, flying wing-shaped drone was in testing, one larger than the RQ-170 Sentinel, smaller than a B-2 bomber, and designed for global ISR, that's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. So what exactly is it? Well, it is believed to be a flying wing UAV similar in design to the B-2 Spirit, but slightly smaller and more agile. It's designed with no vertical stabilizers, smooth edges, internal payload bays, and radar-absorbing skin. It's optimized for minimal radar cross-section. Its estimated wingspan is believed to be about 130 to 150 feet. And it's powered by two embedded engines with flattened, shielded exhausts to reduce the infrared signature. The operational altitude is believed to exceed 60,000 feet, putting it above most interceptors and within the stratosphere. Its range is intercontinental. Some sources estimate a 20,000-kilometer range. That's over 12,000 miles, with an endurance of over 24 hours on a single mission. Its payload capabilities are not fully known, but given its size, it likely carries a suite of synthetic aperture radar, electro-optical infrared cameras, signals intelligence or SIGINT collectors, and communications relay systems. This would allow it to perform both wide area surveillance and pinpoint target identification. There is the growing belief that the RQ-180 is already operational, not just in testing. Multiple sightings and unusual flight activity patterns have been reported near U.S. overseas bases, including Diego Garcia, Guam, and the airbase in Qatar. Additional reports of unidentifiable long-endurance high-altitude craft operating near Chinese or Russian airspace have also fueled speculation that the RQ-180 is in regular use. But from an operational perspective, it gives the U.S. Air Force the ability to conduct strategic reconnaissance without risking pilots, without alerting defenses, and without being tracked by any adversary space systems. It's an answer to a growing threat of anti-access aerial denial environments, contested zones where long-range missiles, integrated radars, and hardened command facilities are designed to keep U.S. forces out. While it is possible that the RQ-180 may one day be acknowledged, perhaps even photographed, it is also entirely possible that it will serve its entire lifespan in the dark. In some ways, that would be fitting. It is by design, after all, the quietest aircraft in the world. It is not meant to be seen.